Penn State football gets another player in the recruiting cycle. We're here once again, and because Ryan Snyder's on vacation, of course, it's a wide receiver. Sean Fitz here with us on the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel. Thank you for your time once again, Fitz, as we're here racking up another Penn State football commit. They are on an absolute tear, so welcome. Tell us what's going on with the Nittany Lions.
Well, first, thank you to Ryan for going on vacation, getting this thing kickstarted once again. I know he was down at the beach a couple of weeks ago and got things rolling in June, and now end of July into August, Penn State is on the board and they're pretty hot in 2026 right now. The latest commitment from DeMatha wide receiver. That's right, DeMatha. You may know that name. A couple of guys on the roster from that prestigious institution in Maryland. LaVar Keys, slot receiver. He's had a Penn State offer for less than a week. He decided to jump on it. He told us that this is where he wanted to be. He didn't feel like messing around any longer. This is where he wanted to be. So he pulled the trigger on Thursday night, and all of a sudden, Penn State's got 6 commits in the class of 2026, which is crazy to think about given where we entered last week.
Yeah, it's an impressive list of players, too, when you consider the guys they've assembled so far. We've gone through the names on the Blue White Illustrated YouTube show already, so if you want to go check that out, we'll get to the full class maybe at the end here. But with LaVar, you mentioned this was a very quick turnaround, a guy from an area that Penn State has gotten players from in the past, but it has not been a consistent. It's in the same area as McDonough, but not necessarily the McDonough level of consistency of throwing players Penn State's way. So I guess, is this a good thing for Penn State, getting a guy from DeMatha and from continuing that tie to that Delaware, Maryland region?
You look around the region and there's certain schools that just pop when you talk about them and you talk about Penn State recruiting, and DeMatha has always been one of those schools. A couple guys on the roster. KJ Winston's the latest in the class of 2022. Jahsiear Rogers, of course, is on the list. They've recruited a couple of guys out of there since. It hasn't been as fruitful in the last few cycles. Jason Moore went to Ohio State. They offered Bud Coombs in the class of 2025, but as a running back, you know that how high that bar is for Penn State's running back recruiting, and just never came around to it. He's committed to Maryland right now. So LaVar Keys, 2026 prospect, slot receiver. We have him at 5'10", 165. We're probably being a little bit generous in terms of height for his commitment. So I don't know how long that's going to stay like that on his profile. He's probably 5'9", 5'9.5". But I guess the statement remains the same. He's probably a slot receiver. He's got some speed, and that's what you're looking at with Jahsiear Rogers from Delaware that committed over the weekend. All of a sudden, you add LaVar Keys. Keys came to Penn State's camp, and just like Rogers, ran in the 4.3s. He's got some smoke to him. He can run. But he's got that. He's got some other good testing numbers to go along with it. Caught the ball well during camp over the weekend, and really caught Penn State's attention. And like I said, this is a guy that wanted to get this recruiting process over once he got that Penn State offer. We have him as an 86 3-star on 3. Just picked up a 24/7 ranking today as well, 86 as well. But you look at him, he's of course undersized, but man, he can run. He's a zone buster. If you look at his film, he finds soft spots in the defense, likes to sit down, catches the ball, turns and goes. He's got some quickness. He's got some speed. I don't like to compare anyone to KJ Hamler, but this is the type of player that Penn State's been looking for really since KJ Hamler. And you look at what they missed in Lex Cyrus in the class of 2025, at least so far, kind of a similar build. Keys a little bit skinnier, but they both run fast. They're probably more fast than quick, although some numbers that we found recently from Keys sort of dissuade that notion as well. But he's that slot receiver, punt return type guy that's got some moves, and he's got some really, really good balance. So Penn State is charging full bore into the class of 2026 at receiver. It's been a struggle in 2025, no doubt about it. But it looks like Penn State has gotten a good start for that, and they're going to continue to try and add different body types. They're going to continue to add, more than just speed guys. You got to have a well-rounded room there. But LaVar Keys does a lot of things well. From talking to Ryan, who was at the camp, unfortunately Kevin Brown committed, and I had to run satellite assistance for him during that commitment. Keys was very good at the camp. So you like what you see in terms of change of direction, balance, route running, the hands. You don't see a ton of the away from the body catches, but what he does is he catches it, he packs it away, and he gets upfield.
One of the things I like about some of these guys they're recruiting that are a little bit undersized, they still, here it's the T Frank drinking game. They got good length, so drink. You got a guy who despite the size has good arm length, and so some of those things can be overcome. I'm not saying he's going to be able to play, boundary X and be a dominant jump ball player. I don't know that we have that information about him just yet, but I like the frame and the ability to be more than just a hyper specific jet sweep guy. Maybe just from the slot have to protect him. There's a little bit more there, and you mentioned with all of these 2026 commitments so early in this recruiting cycle, these numbers are changing pretty quickly. So normally I have the graphic up and everything ready to go, but here it is for you if you want to see here on the YouTube channel. LaVar Keys, you see 556 overall, 104 and 90 for On3 and 247 Sports. Both these rankings have him as an 86 overall, but this is kind of in a situation where we're getting some of these guys on the map by getting commitments fit. So again, Penn State is in the situation where their in-person evaluations you've talked about, their data that they gather on these players makes them pretty confident that the film is just the beginning, it seems, for where they're going, and that everyone else is going to catch up later. Because if you've got guys like Jahsiear Rogers and LaVar Keys who are this fast and albeit a little bit undersized, Penn State taking them now makes you, at least to me, that signals they think these guys are much better than what we're seeing here, and the recruiting rankings will reflect that eventually.
Especially when you just talk about the in-person evaluation. He's coming off of a camp where he worked with Marques Hagans, worked with Mark Dupuis, worked with Andy Kotelnicki. He came on the day that they had the better quarterback showing, with Troy Hune throwing, with Beckham Kritza throwing, those guys. And, he did a really nice job linking up with those guys. So the in-person evaluation is fresh, and the in-person evaluation is, there's something to be said for the experience of watching a guy work out in person. So I think that that's the big thing here. And the tape's good too. I mean, I didn't mean to maybe downplay his tape, but 48 catches, I believe he told me, 700 yards and 8 touchdowns at DeMatha as a sophomore. Yeah. That says something. Not only that he could break out, he's playing JV in 2022, but he could play on the varsity level and be productive at the varsity level. And you look at his, we say slot receiver, but you look at his tape, he's playing outside for DeMatha.
Yep.
Like he's playing all over. So
does good getting off press.
Yeah,
he's got some good moves at the line of scrimmage to get off press, and that's what I'm saying. He's got length, he's got some tools, I think, that make him more than just a pure slot receiver. And I don't think you downplayed the tape whatsoever. I guess my point was, as of when I first was looking at LaVar Keys, when he was put on the radar, he had absolutely no ratings by anybody. It was a blank page. So we're just now, in the last week or so, kind of putting all those pieces together, and that's really what I was meaning by that. But when you look at, and I know that I do this, and it's kind of a fun exercise in my brain, but you look at 2025 as it stands right now. As of this recording, you've got two guys that are 6'2 plus, big physical receivers. And now in the class of 2026, if you're looking at this as a combined recruiting effort, this is a good balance. I know that they're still going to go after Lex Cyrus. So it's not like the story is over for 2025. But this receiving room, if you put the pieces together over a couple of years, I feel like they are getting to that balance of body types and chemistry on positionally, maybe that you would like to have in one class. We'll see if they can get it done individually, both with 26 getting different body types in the future, and 25 getting some of those guys that maybe have speed like these players in the class of 25 here down the stretch. But as we get out of here, do you want to take a conversational look then at the class of 2026? We talked about this on the recruiting show, how they've been so aggressive. That was less than 8 hours ago, and here they are adding another player in 26. So I guess what's your read on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been impressive to see this run this week, just not only because they seem like it's kind of flipped the script on 2025, but also it seems like pretty good players here. Kevin Brown, close to a 5-star. Of course, Mickens and Hune sort of were the anchors before that. Daniel Jennings, good football player. Jahsiear Rogers, I'm really excited about, and I really like to see a little bit more of him. But then you add another speed guy to that, and you kind of look at what they're putting together, and they're maxing out certain categories here. Like you're looking at speed and thinking, wow, this is going to be one of the fastest receiver classes we've ever seen at Penn State, just because these guys, a couple of guys running 4.3s are not, again, there's not too many of those walking around. So yeah, it's been a good start for Penn State. Of course, Jahsiear Rogers hopped in over the weekend. LaVar Keys today on the offensive side of the ball. Hune, Mickens, Kevin Brown. I mean, I mean, I don't know that we're mocking up classes in July or August of 2024 for the 2026 class, but I'm not sure you could have drawn it up much better there. I mean, Penn
Yeah.
State is going to be able to sell that. They're going to be able to peer recruit. They're going to be able to sort of make guys a little bit more comfortable with a quicker start. And of course, they're going to continue to evaluate guys, uncommitted guys, committed elsewhere, and the guys they have committed to themselves. So it'll be an interesting cycle to follow. It'll be a fun cycle to follow. And really, you have more fun, covering this, following this when Penn State's doing well. It looks like they're doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, it is interesting, the dynamics. I always say that I like to see something I've never seen before. And so that's what I'm rooting for in all these situations, and having this many players this early, something I've never seen before personally. And I'm sure there's been instances in the past where they've had strong early recruiting, but this seems pretty exceptional. Of course, as always, if you want to get more information on LaVar Keys, you want to get more information on Penn State football recruiting, join BlueWhiteIllustrated.com, code PSU1, 2 months for $1. That's our special offer for our YouTube fans. We want to bring you in closer. We want to give you that bro hug, get you in and get you all that special information at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com and on the Blue White Illustrated message board. We can have these conversations more often and with some more detail. So, Sean Fitz, I'll see you in like 6 hours, apparently, by the way that this clock is going, but thank you for your time right now.
Yep, definitely sick of your face. So hopefully we can get these in the can and then move on. But no, all bro hugs go through at Thomas Frank Carr. So check those out. And no, we're happy to have everybody. Like I said, there's been a lot of people that have jumped on board in the last couple of weeks to check out our coverage. And I think there's a lot of satisfaction with our coverage right now. So please give us a shot. I think we've done a really good job establishing ourselves 3 years at On3. And I think it's just the start for us.
And we'll be back with all that information here on the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel next time there is a Penn State football commitment. We'll talk to you then.